Layer Marney Tower is an early Tudor country house with gardens and parkland dating from around 1523 in Layer Marney, Essex, England. The large gatehouse tower is the most striking element to be completed and survives to be the tallest example of its type in Britain. The gatehouse was intended to be the imposing entrance to what would have been a grand early 16th century palace. Only the wings and the gatehouse were completed. Layer Marney Tower is in many ways the perfect Tudor gatehouse. It is comparable with East Barsham Manor in Norfolk and certainly Sutton Place, Surrey, with which the latter buildings share the rare combination of brick and terracotta construction. The building is principally the creation of Henry, 1st Lord Marney, circa 1457 to 1523, who died during its construction. His son, John, 2nd Lord Marney, circa 1485 to 1525, continued the building work, but died 2 years later, leaving no male heirs to continue the family line or the unfinished work. What was finished, however, was the main range, measuring some 300 feet long, the principal gatehouse that is around 80 feet tall, and an array of buildings and a then new church. The Marney family came from Normandy in the wake of William the Conqueror. The earliest records of the family at Layer Marney dates from 1166, when they were under the overlordship of the Bishop of London. Sir Henry Marney fought at the Battle of Bosworth and Stoke and was knighted in routing the pretender Perkin Warbeck and the Cornish rebels at Blackheath in 1497. A respected member of the Privy Council under both Henry VII and Henry VIII, he was made a Knight of the Bath at Henry VIII's coronation. Also Lord Privy Seal, Vice-Chamberlain of the Household, Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, and Captain of the Yeomen of the Guard. He was subsequently created Lord Marney by Henry VIII. The planned Grand Palace would have been fit for a king after his rise to prominence. Layer Marney may suggest how he perceived himself as an equal and on the same social platform as the kings that he served. Henry VIII's Italian architect Guglielmo de Trevisi may have designed this building. Henry VIII had certainly brought Italian craftsmen to England to work on his own fashionable palaces, and what could not be more befitting for Lord Marney but to employ such a man for his own building? Besides his many appointments, Henry VIII provided Henry with other positions. These included Constable of Castle Rising, Warden of Rochester Castle, Steward for the Duchy of Cornwall, and Master Forester of Dartmoor. Henry VIII actually visited Layer Marney in 1522. It is believed he would have stayed in the royal apartments in the gatehouse on the first floor. The church was rebuilt by Henry, 1st Lord Marney, and John, 2nd Lord Marney, at the beginning of the 16th century, and left unfinished on the death of the second and last Lord Marney. Their wills made provision for the church to be finished. The church, all in the Perpendicular style, is built of Tudor brick, reputedly to have been locally made. It has a west tower and a mural of St. Christopher, which dates from circa 1520, which was uncovered in 1870. Also in the church are the tombs of Henry, 1st Lord Marney, John, 2nd Lord Marney, and Sir Brian Tuke, Cardinal Wolsey's chief secretary. The 2nd Lord Marney was appointed keeper of Rochester Castle on the 18th of May 1509. He served under his father in the French campaign of 1513 and was present at Henry VIII's meeting with the French king at the Field of Cloth of Gold. He was an esquire of the body to Henry VIII and was knighted in 1513. Following his father, he is believed to have been a Member of Parliament for Essex in 1523, but was swiftly elevated to the House of Lords soon afterwards. Following the death of the 2nd Lord Marney, Sir Brian Tuke, High Sheriff of Essex, purchased Layer Marney Hall and the estate from John's two daughters in 1533. His third son and heir, George, who died in 1573, completed the spectacular four-turreted gatehouse. However, the main house was never completed and becoming simply known as Layer Marney Tower. The building suffered considerable damage from the Great English Earthquake of 1884. A subsequent report in the Builder magazine described the state of the house as such that the outlay needed to restore the towers to anything like a sound and habitable condition would be so large that the chance of the work ever being done appears remote indeed. The repairs, however, were begun by brother and sister Alfred Peach and Kezia Peach, who refloored and re-roofed the gatehouse. They created the garden south of the tower. The next owner was Walter de Zoet, who carried on and expanded the work with a team of 13 domestic and 16 outside staff. He enlarged the gardens, built a folly known as the Tea House, which is now a self-catering holiday cottage, and converted the stables into a long gallery, where he housed his furniture, paintings and objets d'art collection. As a consequence of all this work, the interior owes more to the Edwardian aesthetic of Walter de Zoet than to the Marneys. Walter sadly lost money in the Japanese stock market crash and sold the house to a Dr. and Mrs. Campbell. The house came to the present owners, the Charringtons, in 1959. Gerald and Susan Charrington had been married in Layer Marney Church in 1957. 2 years later, Mrs. Campbell's executors put the house up for sale and the Charringtons purchased it. It has been occupied by the Charrington family ever since. The most famous ghost at Layer Marney Tower is thought to be Lord Marney himself, who is said to haunt the building because he is unhappy with how the building was finished. He has been seen most often climbing the tower's staircase wearing a full suit of armour, and there are also claims of him being seen riding a horse within the tower's gardens. An Australian lady who stayed for a couple of nights at the tower complained that she would wake up to be harassed by a pair of floating hands, which wasn't attached to anyone or anything. This weird activity persisted until she discovered it would stop if she opened the door to a room. The most common manifestations are of a woman dressed in a fine Victorian gown and the ghostly apparition of what appears to be one of the gardeners. This apparition has been seen tending to an area where the bodies of 2 children were discovered many years ago, though it is not clear what his connection to the deceased was. Most of these spirits are seen around the estate and also in an old barn, which reportedly contains servants or labourers, but who or why they linger here will forever remain a mystery. They may be former employees of Walter de Zoet when he carried out significant renovations there. But of course, like all of these stories, we will never ever know. One of the rooms in the tower is said to be haunted. Workers have heard doors slammed, but the only door is rusted shut. Not only that, but people have also seen a cloaked figure outside this very door. The East Wing is said to be an active area for poltergeist activity. People have claimed to have seen objects move in front of them, or even themselves being violently thrown across the room. Claims of being touched by unseen hands are often reported, with a feeling of someone placing a hand upon a guest's shoulder or the gentle stroking of a female visitor's hair. Undoubtedly, much activity is featured here, and the site was once investigated by the TV program Most Haunted. However, sadly, having reportedly been caught creating activity in many shoots, their witness credibility is at best questionable. I have personally visited the tower on a few occasions. The first was an evening private social event many years ago, and more recently in 2022 and during the day. There has certainly been a sense of activity about the place on both occasions, and the church itself has a beautiful atmosphere around the area of the chancel. Well, that's it from me today, and until the next time, thank you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if not already a subscriber, if you could click the subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell icon for any updates of any news or new releases. Thank you.